for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point if Aaron Jones misses time where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's a safe shot, pin high left with a 6-iron. And then this is where JJ enters the fray again and hits this like slice 5-iron. That was just, I mean, it curved probably a good, 30, 40 feet, almost flies in the hole. And it was just a crazy shot because nobody would ever really try to hit that type of slider.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay, a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that's placed higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that bag.
Pro Baseball Today, only on
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on a terrific Tuesday evening. Scott Wetzel, Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, betting the world of sports. Baseball, some pretty good matchups. Got the Brewers and Cubbies, game 2 of their day-night doubleheader. We got some terrific WNBA games. We got the 2 best teams squaring off, theoretically anyway. And then we got the 2 hottest teams squaring off later on tonight as well. So we got a little college football talk. We got our SGPs, 5 on the line, Black Clouds as well. We'll get to it all over the next 2 hours. What's going on, Gabe? How are you tonight?
Hey, we're ready to rock, Scott. And I got to tell you, I've really become addicted to the WNBA. I've got my eye on the college football card this weekend, and I'm already really focused in on my Saturday plays and line moves and all that other stuff. But excited for an interesting night of WNBA action tonight. Kicking myself. I left the Lynx on the table. No Collier at the Lynx Liberty game on the table. No Collier for the Lynx tonight. Scott, she's, the MVP of the league. They're 6-1 without her. It really is amazing. So I sort of got, cooled off, but I sort of felt like, you know what? The Liberty are due for one of these sort of big wins and a statement win tonight. And strong start for the Liberty, but I know we got baseball going on. And as far as the Brewers are concerned, Scott, so as you stated last night, game was rained out, led into the doubleheader today. And some interesting numbers. I was thinking about this, Scott, as good as the Brewers are. How are they off of a loss? Right? Interesting. How are they off of a loss? They're 27-18 off of a loss, which is 4th or 5th in the league. And as far as the Cubs off a win, Scott, 33-37. Interesting, huh? Cubs have had a hard time stringing together multiple wins. So, classic spot. Number 1, we like to take the team that lost the first leg of the doubleheader to begin with. Number 2, the Milwaukee Brewers are the best team in baseball. Number 3, they're damn good off of a loss. Number 4, the Cubs are mediocre off a win. And not to mention, Woodruff's on the hill here tonight. 7-0 in Woodruff's 7 starts, Scott, this year, the Milwaukee Brewers are. It's almost too good to be true. It's almost like your black cloud is going to come and ruin this. But hey, I'm taking the Brew Crew tonight.
You have to, and pick them, right? They give it to you basically a pick 'em, depending on your site, minus 105, 106, whatever. It's basically pick 'em. Pick 'em odds for a team that's the hottest in baseball. It's crazy. So it's funny you mentioned Brewers and Cubs. It is game 2, and it is part of our 5 on the line, 5 best trends for the games that have yet to get underway. All right, we had a 2-1 night last night. We had the Cubs Brewers. We had 2 in that one. That got rained out the second game. So we went 2-1 last night. Unfortunately, the one loss was the dopey Dodgers, which we'll get into here in a bit. So right back to the well we go, though, with our 5 best trends. And right back to Milwaukee and the Cubs. We'll use the same trends. Now, it did go over, which is good, actually. So we'll start with Brewers. 15-2 since they lost the first game this afternoon, 6-4. I don't think they're losing 2 in a row. When's the last time they lost 2 in a row, for goodness sakes? I got to look it up. I'm sure it's well over a month ago, the way they've been playing. So Brewers 15-1, 15-2. Give me Milwaukee pick 'em. Game number 2 against the Cubs. Same thing, under. Now, the game did go over, which, again, I'm glad it did. I'd rather you just, chance that both these games going over when the Cubs are 12-1 heading into today, under. Last 13 games. Well, it's a monster under run, so let's go under the 7. It's a low number. It is with Woodruff on the Hill. Under 7, Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs. Next one is one of those that hit last night. San Francisco under 39-23 now. Their last 62 games. San Diego 70-51 under as well overall on the season. So give me under 8, San Fran versus San Diego. Pick number 4, Cincinnati, another winner from last night. Reds won again. Boy, they've beaten the Angels. Again, they don't play that often, not even the same league, let alone the same division. But they've beaten the Angels 9 straight, including last night. So right back, Cincinnati, minus the 136 against the LA Angels. And then that leaves us with only one, which I know trend-wise, it's still a solid trend despite what happened last night. If you didn't know what happened last night, I told you I got a team, the Dodgers, that are 23-6 their last 29 meetings against the team they're facing. You wouldn't worry about what happened the night before. So with that approach, our coup de grace, creme de la creme, numero uno trend for tonight is, and play. Yeah, right back with the Dodgers, although I'm not playing it. In fact, you'll see with my SGP here in a little bit, I'm going on the other side, believe it or not. But Dodgers minus the 270 against Colorado. So forget about laying. Remember, Gabe, you mentioned you like them. Boy, by the way, I got to pat you on the back there. You had one of those nights last night. You liked Colorado. You suggested to them, especially when they were getting 4.5. I know that you hit your Cincinnati Bengals. You hit the over Bengals. Then you put the under in at 51, I think it was, which looked like you had no shot of hitting, and you end up hitting that one as well. You had the perfect storm there. So nice job last night.
Yeah, one of those games. And, you can learn a lot, guys, by actually watching these games. And if you sort of understand, and we could see how it was unfolding last night, how it was going to develop. I didn't expect there only to be 6 points Scott scored in the second half, but we talked about it. I mean, that game barely got there. It was sitting there at 45 after, right? And very similar to that Kansas City game. And in the preseason, tread very carefully, guys, with the final week of the preseason here now, right? As it's regular season time now around the corner. But yeah, thanks. We hit that the NFL game, but we got punched in the mouth last night hard, bro. I'm like Victor Robles. I got hit with multiple pitches, and I'm ready to throw a baseball bat. I only got 10 games for that. I was surprised. I thought I would have given him more, to be honest. But, so our baseball picks last night, as you stated, the Dodgers fall short. Again, the Reds did get it done last night, Scott. We've talked about the Reds looking to string together some wins, and I think it's a good spot for them, as you brought up. They've now won 9 straight games against the Angels, which it's kind of random, as you stated. They don't play all the time, but nevertheless, 9-0 is 9-0, and Hunter Green is Hunter Green. In 10 of his 11 starts this year, guys, he's given up 2 runs or less, okay? He came back from injury. He looked good. People were wondering, how is he going to look coming back? He looked good, Scott. I'm going to go back to the Reds once again here this evening. Over the last 6 games, the Reds averaging 5.6 runs a baseball game. They have their best pitcher on the hill here this evening. I think they can get a little momentum going this week. I like the Reds tonight as well.
All right. You know what? I don't know if they're going to get there, Gabe. It seems like the Mets have turned things around. They're winning big. But listen, that's a nice, it's a decent season for the Reds, right? They came into this season with not too much hope. That whole division, really, we all thought were going to be awful, except maybe the Cubs. But it turns out the Brewers are good. But the fact that they're still in it late August, you know what? They're kind of playing with house money. At this point, you want to. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if they have quite enough to actually get there and overtake the Mets or any of the other teams in the wild card race there. But that's not a bad job. I like Terry Francona. I'm happy for him as a Red Sox guy. I root for him no matter where he goes. So, yeah.
I always talk, Scott. I always talk about schedules at this time of the year, and people will assume when they talk about pennant chases, they'll look at team schedule, and classic example is the Rockies right now. The Rockies just beat the Dodgers last night. Rockies are on a 4-game win streak right now, right? Like the White Sox have been scrappy against competitive teams. But if you're the Reds, Scott, this is pretty rough. I mean, you're playing the Angels. After this, you go to Arizona to play the D-backs. Then you have to go to Los Angeles to play the Dodgers. And then you go back home, you get the Cardinals, then you get the Blue Jays, then you get the Mets. So I'd say, Scott, the Red season's on the line over the next 3 weeks. I mean, that's quite the goal. If they survive that, then they're the real deal.
Yeah. All right, just getting underway. In-game live. I got some crazy numbers for you if you think you can beat the boys in Vegas with baseball coming up.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Just to recap our 5 on the line, got the 5 plays for us, obviously. Game number 2 of the day-night doubleheader with Milwaukee and the Cubs. We'll grab Milwaukee, pick 'em, and then under 7. Cubbies at a 12-2 under run. We're going to go under San Diego. Both teams strong under clubs. We'll grab Cincinnati minus the 136 against the Angels. Reds have beaten the Angels 9 straight, including last night. And then right back to the well with the Dodgers, 23-6 against the Rockies. So we'll lay the minus 270 trend-wise with the LA Dodgers last night. You know, Gabe, I looked it up, right? I was so frustrated with that Dodger game. And this is the last time I'm going against Colorado, by the way. I've done the antithesis. You know, I've written off St. Louis and Arizona. And now I'm actually going to be betting on Colorado from here on out. And I'm going to do the worst thing a gambler could ever do. And I'm going to do it anyway. And that is just push the envelope. Start with a $10 bet on Colorado tonight. If they don't win, we're going to bet $10 on Colorado tomorrow. If they don't win, then I'll bet 15 or 20, depending on what the odds are the next day. And I'm going to keep on rolling it over. And I know they're going to go off on a 10-game losing streak, I know. But I'm going to do it where all you have to do is win one time because I'm sick of laying the minus 2 and change and ruining parlays. So, but I looked it up. The last place teams in every division, right? Baltimore, White Sox, Oakland in the American League, Pittsburgh, Washington, Colorado in the National League. You talk about, you think you can beat the boys in Vegas, folks, without any kind of help from like guys like Gabe and I? Get a load of this, Gabe. Baltimore, since the All-Star break, 15-15. White Sox, the god-awful White Sox, since the All-Star break, 13-15. Oakland, putrid, right? 15-13 since the All-Star break. All right, how about National League, Scott? Pittsburgh, last place in the Central, right? 14-15 since the All-Star break. Washington, pathetic, right? Fired their manager, played no different. 13-16 since the All-Star break. Well, we can always count on Colorado, though, Scott. I mean, they're all god-awful, right? Going to set the record for the worst record in baseball. Rockies, 14-15 since the All-Star break. They're a combined, these 6 teams, overall record, 155 games under 500. But since the All-Star break, they're only 5 games combined under 500. So
well, this is why I've said time and time again, you can't assume schedule, but you're kind of a day late and a dollar short now with Colorado, considering they're on a 4-game win streak, right? So when's that bubble going to burst? But there is something to be said for this, betting on bad teams, and it won't. I don't think this trend will stop, actually, Scott. And, you know, listen, it's streaky. A bad team, the A's might lose 4 in a row or 5 in a row, and obviously Colorado are going to go on another bad streak before the year is done again. But bad teams play well in September as well, right? They do. And they get priced. They're priced. The odds don't change. So as you stated, Colorado's a good example. Since, because this is interesting, people looking at the Los Angeles Dodgers record as of late. The Dodgers, Scott, in their last 38 games are 16-22. All right, so there's the Dodgers, 16-22. But the Dodgers are massive favorites all the time. The Colorado Rockies in their last 37 games are 15-22. So think about that. 15-22 guys, yet they're literally like plus 250, plus 200, plus 180, right? They're always these big dogs. And like Scott is saying, a lot of these teams, they're big underdogs, yet they're winning half the time. So in other words, if you're betting on them, you're winning, a lot. And it's a strategy, Scott, It's public perception. Once people think a team is bad, they'll just, they want to hammer them. It becomes Captain Shock material, parlay material for people out there. But it's the same thing in the National Hockey League. There'll be bad teams. The perception is there'll be bad teams coming into the year in the NHL. And there'll always be a couple of surprise teams, Scott. The Columbus Blue Jackets last year were supposed to be like the worst team in the league. Their odds were right there with the San Jose Sharks to be the worst team in the league. They weren't the worst team in the league, and they were battling for a playoff spot until the final week of the regular season, yet they were big underdogs like all the time, Scott. The odds makers basically made the power rankings for them before the year started and moved on. Like I said, they just, whatever. They moved on after the Montreal Canadiens. I used to say this. That's why I talking about the baseball, it applies in different sports, especially the sports they play so many games. But it was same thing in hockey, Scott. The Montreal Canadiens were good last year, yet they were priced like a bad team. Like they were like plus 200 on the road, and they were like plus 125, plus 130 at home all the time. Yet they were winning more than half of the time. Yet they were always underdogs, Scott. So you do the math. You win half the time, guys, and, with the Rockies, the Orioles, the Pirates of the world, you're cashing large. They're large underdogs every day.
Yeah. I guarantee you, without knowing for sure, but I guarantee you all 6 of those teams, if you bet whatever, the same amount on them, you're getting money. You're cashing money. You're cashing tickets, rather, because you said it. They're an underdog every single night, basically. And if they're not, it's pick 'em. It's rare when they're actually a favorite. So as long as you go 500 or not even, a couple of games under, you're winning money. So just the notion, though, of, all right, I'm going to bet against the bad teams now because the season's over and, they're playing for nothing. I think it's just the opposite, Gabe. I really do. I think it's the mediocre teams. It's the Arizonas, the San Franciscos, the Minnesotas. I would bet against them because they had hopes coming in. There were points in the season where they were playing well, and now they realize, their season's over. They're not making the playoffs, and they're demoralized. But these other teams, whether it's Colorado or Washington or Pittsburgh or Oakland or White Sox, they didn't have playoff hopes realistically, and now they're starting to win a couple of games.
They get second wins, though, Scott. They get second wins, though, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
The teams, the teams that are supposed to be bad. Number one, people need to remember the number one thing is this is a job for a player, Scott. All right, winning a championship is just a bonus type of deal. The number one goal is to make the league. The number two goal is to make as much money as possible in the league. So whether you play for the Athletics or whether you play for the Dodgers, 40 home runs is 40 home runs. You're getting paid, right? And you're always playing for something in baseball, Scott. Like there is no mail it in. And in September, everyone's trying to make a name for themselves. You have all these call-ups.
SGP, and we'll go back to the board and get some winners for tonight as well. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Rid. Scott and Gabe just getting underway. Hour number 1, segment number 3. You know what time it is? A little SGP same game parlay time. All right, need a winner yet. We missed out last night, so we're going to kind of go to the well, have a little fun with this. We're flipping. I know we probably are $1 too short here, a day late, $1 short, as the saying goes, but you keep on saying that, and you keep on waiting for when's the best time, to bet on Colorado, right? Is there really? So we're going to start it. We'll just put the fork in the road right now. Give me Colorado, yes, against the Dodgers. We're going to go conservative, though, plus 1.5 runs. So hopefully they at least don't, if they do lose, they only lose by 1 run. Plus 155, which is a pretty fat number for being at home. So Colorado plus the 1.5 runs, plus 155 against the Dodgers. I'm going to go Ohtani just because I would never make this bet, but this goes back to what Gabe and I were talking about last night in that I think he's going to hit a home run somewhere in this 3-game series in Colorado. So the odds stink, plus 114. That should be against the law, for goodness sakes. But I'm going to put it in a parlay. And then we'll use Jordan Beck to get a hit and a run. He's Colorado's probably best player, their hottest hitter. He's really been on fire for the last month or so, believe it or not. He's been on base damn near every single game over the last month and a half. So we'll use Beck to get a hit and a run. He leads them in runs scored. Add it all up, it's not quite as big as I thought it would be, but it's plus 868, 8.5 to 1 on the Rockies to at least be competitive against the Dodgers tonight.
And you mentioned Ohtani's home run number prop, guys. Unbelievable. ESPN Bet tweeted out tonight that it's their lowest home run prop number that they've ever posted before at plus 110. Wow. Like, it's just wild. The plus 110 for a home run prop. So looking at this number here, Scott, I'm going to ride the Dodgers again. I'll play, and it's there's no value once again. You want to talk about the Dodgers. Dodgers like in the minus 200 range, minus 1.5, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I'm not a fan of these big same-game parlays too much, but in this spot, Shohei Ohtani, does he hit a home run? Probably, but I just can't bet. You bet it at plus 110. It's not a smart bet, but the Dodgers to win, Scott, and Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 total bases is minus 125. So no run line. The Dodgers just need to win the game, and Ohtani needs 2 singles or a double. If he hits a home run, fine, right? And if he hits a home run, they probably win tonight. But I do think the Dodgers win on the run line tonight. But it's a tough bet, Scott, just, due solely to how heavily priced they are. Not to mention Colorado are playing good baseball. It should be noted, though, that Austin Gomber Pyle is on the hill here tonight for the Colorado Rockies. And, he pitches like Gomer Pyle probably would, Scott. 0-6, 6.75 earned run average. Rockies are 3-8. He started 11 games. The Rockies have only won 3 of them. Ohtani has 13 at-bats against Gomber. He's hit 2 home runs in his 13 at-bats as well, so it should be noted. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes deep here tonight either. But I think the Dodgers win. Ohtani over 1.5 total bases. I got it at minus 125 right now, but I'll be the public mark, Scott, and play Ohtani to hit a home run just because I think he will. We played it last night. He's going to hit one in the series, so we'll play it as well at plus 110.
All right. I did something this afternoon, Gabe, with this game, and it's not happening now, but trust me, folks, it was happening, which is an example of sometimes you put it in like 5, 10, 15, whatever minutes later, right? So I'm putting together my SGP. And I put in Colorado plus the 1.5 runs at plus 155. It's now plus 150. Then I put in Colorado over 4.5 runs. And I swear the parlay paid less than just putting the Rockies in a plus 1.5 runs plus 150. When I put the Colorado Rockies to get 5 runs, it lowered the actual parlay to 150. I'm like, how is that? I'm adding a piece no matter how correlated it is. How does it going lower?
Yeah, unbelievable, right? That's when they're just telling you they don't want you betting that, and that's their way of blocking you. This is sort of a gut feel here, guys. Last night, anybody that paid attention to the baseball game, Teoscar Hernandez tried to play a ball. He didn't get there. And, a lot of people were on him about it after. Dodger fans online and, after the media, what happened on that play. And he got pretty upset about it. He goes, I tried to catch the ball and I didn't. That's what happened. right? So I'm calling it right now. Teoscar Hernandez goes deep. And you're going to get a little backflip and a little bit of an evil eye tonight, like looking at people. Let's go Teoscar, just sort of a little screw you home run, Scott.
I like that. I like that thinking. All right, Coach James Young coming up next, WNBA Talk. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp for the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. Talk a little baseball, a little WNBA. Got a decent slate of games, including everything hindsight is 50-50, right? Or 2020. You see it coming. But thinking back on it, Minnesota, we'll start there as we welcome in the coach, James Young, our NBA, WNBA expert here. Yeah, Coach, we were talking in the break, right? They weren't going to lose 3 straight to Minnesota. They've had a kind of a weird schedule. 8 of their last 10 have been on the road. They're playing Minnesota 3 times. They played Connecticut 3 times in a stretch. There was kind of a goofy schedule, but they weren't going to lose, right? That was the bet tonight. Liberty minus 3.5 against Minnesota. They're leading by 9 late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, great to be on with you guys as usual. There was a little talk about how, that Liberty had not played well against them. But remember, Scotty, a little over a week ago when they played in New York, the Liberty were up late in the third quarter and the wheels fell off. And then you look at the game that just happened a couple of days ago, and you had the Liberty were literally in the game the entire time and lost it in the last 2 minutes. The crazy thing is this: when they play, which, by the way, shout out to WNBA for screwing up having this team play each other 4 times in the second half of the year, it's almost like a playoff series. You're right, sweeping 4 games from a team as good as the Liberty, even though they've been a mess, is something that's going to be really difficult. The one thing I loved tonight more than anything was Jonquel Jones over 13.5 points. I talked to Tom Becky about it on Game Time Decisions earlier, and Jonquel came into the game over 10 of the last 13 games. And look at the fact of 2 or 3 games she went under was against the Minnesota Lynx. There's no Nafisa Collier. There's no one who can stop her. Jonquel Jones right now has 22 points late in the second half.
And, Coach, how good, though, and Minnesota losing tonight, but how good are Minnesota? How impressive is it that they're 6-1 without Collier? in the lineup.
Really?
That's what
Right.
sort of put me off. 6-1. Yeah, they're 6-1 without Collier in the lineup.
And they've played really good basketball. And if you kind of look at it, two of those wins were against the Lynx, one against the Aces, where they won. Maybe remember game by almost 50. They beat them. And I think the thing that's really impressive with them is when they got Carrington in a trade from Dallas, she was the perfect complement to that team. Why, Gabe? You slide her to the position where she guards the other team's best offensive guard, and it unlocks McBride, Kayla McBride, who's one of the best pure shooters in the league, to go ahead and knock down shots. Now, McBride has not shot the ball well tonight or the last game for the Liberty, only 1 of 6 from 3. But when they get Nafisha Colley back, listen, if those two teams are healthy, they're on a collision course again. I know the Liberty haven't played well, but once the Liberty get Brandon Stewart back, with Messerman now in the fold, and Jonquel Jones, and Phoebich, and you never know, Benajolini Hamilton has started to practice a little bit. If they get Benajolini Hamilton back along with Sabally and Harrison, those two teams are headed on a collision course, probably against the WNBA Finals.
Hey, last week we talked a lot, guys, about the Atlanta Dream being a dangerous team, and they still are. A lot of people think the Phoenix Mercury. It's going to be a really fun playoffs in the WNBA this year, but a team that's playing tonight, guys, I'm not ready to write off, and they're as hot as anybody in the WNBA right now. And let's not forget, they know how to play basketball in Las Vegas, Coach and Scott. The Las Vegas Aces. This team is rolling. And you talked about it, Coach, the changes to the lineup, Jewel Lloyd coming off the bench. And we've been drilling this, man, with Jewel Lloyd, the her three-point shots made prop. I know you're taking a look at it. I got a 1.5 here at -145 tonight, but I personally like the Aces tonight, guys. Should be a fun basketball game. You look at the Atlanta Dream, they've been on the road for a while now. They played last Wednesday in Seattle. They played Friday night in Vancouver. They played, then they went to Golden State. They played against the Valkyries. This has been quite the grind, Coach and Scott, for the Atlanta Dream. And like I said, nobody's playing better basketball in the WNBA right now than the Las Vegas Aces are, but no one's talking about it.
Yeah, no one's talking about it. People are talking about the schedule game being very soft. And the fact that the one big impressive win they had was versus the New York Liberty on the second leg of a back-to-back. I don't care. They look so much better, Gabe. And you mentioned, obviously, Jewel Lloyd coming off the bench. I think the other part is getting Alyssa Smith in a trade mid-season and putting her into the starting lineup. I love the Aces. I actually took them on the money line tonight versus, obviously, Atlanta because, like you said, on the road for a while, they're playing good basketball, and then Jewel Lloyd threes. I went 3+ made threes over in 6 of her last 7 games. I get major plus money for it tonight, Gabe, so I'm taking a chance on it. That over 1.5 at -145 has come down dramatically. I saw -175s, 180s earlier in the day, so kudos to you. So if you can get it at 1.5 at a low number under -160, I would jump all over it. But if you can't, I wouldn't mind going over 2.5 made threes. Like I said, 6 of the last 7 games. They're 7th Atlanta in defending the three-point line in percentage. And here's the thing, Gabe. 7 out of the last 10 games, Jewel Lloyd is ready for this, had 7+ three-point attempts. It's not just the makes. She's getting the shot attempts, particularly coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm. All right, so one game left after that one. That's Golden State, the monster under team, best under team in the WNBA, fighting for a playoff spot, Coach, at home against Phoenix. Getting 6.5 are the Valkyries, over under 154.5. Any thoughts on that one?
I just want the Veronica Burton to go over her points, rebounds, assists at about 19.5, 20.5 shop around, over 3 of the last 5 games. Veronica Burton has had to take on more of the collective responsibility of the team now that obviously Kayla Thornton went down with the knee injury, terrible knee injury a couple of weeks ago. But this Valkyries team is a team that honestly, guys, at 154, people are slamming over. I wouldn't be so sure to be taking over in this game. No team slows games down and plays it better at their pace than Golden State, and they are absolutely dangerous, and I mean dangerous, at home.
It seems like their games go over more on the road, too. If you noticed that, Scott, last week, remember when Golden State went on the road? You had those low totals. They put points up. They found themselves in bigger track meets. They get back home, and they get lower scoring games again. I'm just scared of their totals, guys. I like to bet overs more than unders, and I always think their totals are too low, and I want to bet the over, but it doesn't get there with them. But I'm personally taking the Valkyries plus the points. tonight. I think it's just a little bit high, Coach, at 6.5.
Yeah, listen, I don't blame you, Gabe, and particularly the fact that you get the hook, and now it's a 3-possession game. I don't think people understand when you start looking at games. Once you get stuff at 3.5 instead of 2 at 3, 6.5 over 6, 9.5 over 9. Once you get to those, especially that end of game, 3-possession game is so huge at half a point. So because it's 6.5, I wouldn't blame you taking the points tonight, Scotty. And I'll be honest with you, they're so fluky. They can win this game outright. Don't count them out on winning it outright because, like you said, they slow the game down, and you've seen it, Gabe. They have a tremendous job of a home court advantage, something you've not seen from an expansion team before in the WNBA.
Alyssa Thomas, minus 170, double-double tonight. She fell just short in the last game when I took her. She had like 18, 19 points or something, but it was frustrating, Scott. She got to like 9 and 9 type of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was close to like a triple-double, but she didn't get a double-double. It was like, 19, 8, and 7 or whatever. Like it was one of those type of, she got up to 9. What do you think tonight, Coach? You know, this is a slower game. The stats, you know what I mean? Not as easy to rack up the stats tonight. So it's not quite an automatic double-double for Alyssa tonight, is it? You know, what do you think?
No, I probably just play the rebounds just because I think it's a slow-down game and her ability to rebound the ball. I wouldn't be really touching the points. The interesting thing with Alyssa Thomas is this. If she continues to put up triple-doubles or double-doubles at the rate she was earlier and the Fisher Collier still stays out, does she start to put a little bit more of a dent in the MVP market for a Phoenix Mercury team that, let's be honest, guys, I thought they were going to be good, but not all the people thought they were going to be good. They're overachieving this year.
She's plus 400 to get a triple-double.
Plus 400, they bumped the odds up. Mystics down 10, Coach, against Connecticut at home. You want to bite on Washington? Get 4.5?
No, Connecticut's fluky with those veterans with Mabry and Tina Charles. Stay away now that they're up by 10.
All right, there you go. Good job, Coach. Appreciate it. Coach James Young here on the Grid. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point if Aaron Jones misses time where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Thanks to the coach, Coach James Young, joining us as he does from time to time, talking a little WNBA. So, yeah, we'll get back to that in a little bit. A couple of baseball games here, Gabe, Scott and Gabe, hour number one. The Houston Astros, they've been shut out back-to-back games, and they're being shut out again tonight. I was telling you in one of the breaks here, I did something I don't normally do, but I bet an under 2.5 runs for Houston. I said if they're coming off back-to-back shutouts, that doesn't even count the game they damn near got no hit in 4 games ago. So they've been shut out 3 of their last 4 back-to-back. They only got a couple of hits tonight. They only got 14 hits in their last 23 innings. It's a 23-inning scoreless streak. I don't know what is going on with this team, but, man, you cannot bet them. I figured with Scooble on the hill, exactly what's happening was going to happen, and it is, which is rare.
They only have 3 hits tonight. This has been a problem for a couple of weeks. It's been a problem for them all year, basically. But the last couple of weeks it's really been highlighted and compounded. And we were talking earlier about teams, and like I said, Scott, like the Baltimore Orioles, like you said, they were a team with higher expectations, obviously, right? There's been a buzz about it they were in the playoffs the last couple of years. They come into this year. Yet, I think anybody that was sort of an expert of the game could kind of tell that this team was going to regress and not go forward this year. But we didn't expect the wheels to fall off, Scott. But, I think they sort of, you go through that, that frustration in June. You know what I mean? When things blow up. And then they sort of accept, okay, you know what? We've just got to play for ourselves here. And, we don't want to have a terrible year. We got to put numbers up. But they have fun. You look at the Orioles right now. This is a team. They had a big weekend as well, and it's just sort of continuing right now. They're up 3-1 on the Boston Red Sox right now, coming off the win last night. The Orioles had the big weekend where they put up 23 runs, and now they're up 3-1 on Boston right now. So another team that people lost a lot of money on earlier, Scott, betting on, sort of, the public player thinking, oh, Baltimore are good. Then they give up on them, and now, as you stated, over the last month, Baltimore have been a 500 team, but they're underdogs all the time.
Yeah, crazy. 5-1 their last 6, 15-15 since the All-Star break, and they're winning again. And it's in the case where with the Red Sox, and I'm a Sox fan, but are they really a 10-game over 500 team? Probably not when everything is said and done, right? I think they're a little bit better than a 500 club, but by the end, like if you told me the Red Sox would be 10 games over 500 at the end of the year like they are right now, I'd sign up for that. I think that'll get them into postseason. I'd take that in a heartbeat. But in reality, I don't think they're a 10-game over 500 team.
And hold on, do I want to pat myself on the back on this one? Here, although it wasn't a home run, but Teoscar Hernandez just drove in a couple of runs, 2-0. I was hoping it was a home run, Scott, because I said look for Teoscar to bounce back tonight. But I did jump back in on this with the run to be in the first inning. I bought in last night. The Dodgers got the first 2 on. There was nobody out. They did not score. But this is the thing, Scott. You want to jump on the Colorado train. You're doing it on a night after the frustrating loss for the Dodgers, right? So you sort of get the feeling the Dodgers are going to want to put some runs up on the board here early and kind of smoke them tonight and don't have stress, right? So we'll see what happens because they were up 2-0 last night. The next thing we know is 2-2, right? So once again, this is deja vu all over again, Scott. Rockies plus 4.5 right now. It's deja vu all over again. This is exactly at the same time last night that I said, hey, it's 4.5. I liked it more last night. Tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers win 9-1.
Right, because of that. But that's a good, like I mentioned this last night. I said, if you were betting Colorado, I said, don't bet them just tonight, meaning last night. I said, you bet them the entire series. Don't have them lose Monday. Then you bet the Dodgers on Wednesday or Tuesday and then have the Rockies,
you've already broke even.
So kind of pick your poison.
Well, there's actually 4. You've already got at least 300 back for your 100, right?
So now I would just probably bail and tell you the truth. But you did do that, though. My point is, like, you bet the run in the first inning last night. You came close. It didn't happen. But the same premise for Game 1 is there in Game 2. The Dodgers are a 10 times better team than the Rockies. Rockies' pitching staff stinks. So it's good to see you went right back to that run in the first inning. You didn't run scared after losing.
It wasn't cheap. I put it in at the last. I got it in at the last second. The game kind of cracked up. No, full disclosure. You know what it was? -180.
Oof.
Last night it was
Minus
minus 170. Last night it was
Yeah, I
70,
remember that.
Scott. And so tonight it was so the sports book. It's almost, Scott, like the first half play of an NBA team that lost the game before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know it's like, the point spread for the game is 4.5, but the first half point spread's 5, right? Because we know the old zigzag theory, and everybody's going to come back in the first half. They almost knew tonight, Scott. There's going to, people are going to be betting the run in the first inning again tonight. So they, it was like the beware of dog sign, right? Minus 180 was put up to sort of scare people away. Plus, you had Gomber on the hill here tonight, and who knows? Maybe Colorado will respond. It's not like Sheehan is Clayton Kershaw, I don't think, with all due respect to Sheehan, I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer in 20 years.
Yeah. I think they probably had that same approach with Ohtani. What was he last night? They hit a home run. It wasn't 110, but it wasn't like 130,
It was plus 150.
135?
Plus 150.
Well, yeah, it wasn't much. Usually those numbers are like 2.5, 3.5, 4.5 to 1. I think they had the same approach, Gabe. I think they said, all right, people are going to do, they're going to bet him to hit a home run in every single, or, every game, figuring he's going to get at least one.
It came down, Scott, because you're right. I remember Kurtz now. I'm sorry to jump in, but I remember Kurtz actually saying plus 136 last night or something. I got a plus 150 last night, but you're right. There were like plus one. I think it was like it closed in the plus 135 range last night for Ohtani.
Yeah, and if he doesn't hit one tonight, I got a feeling it'll be like even tomorrow.
He's
all
pitching
on the
tomorrow,
premise of like
too.
this guy's going to hit one in this series somewhere along the line. So
He's pitching tomorrow too, as well, for the record. So he's pitching tomorrow. The last game that he pitched, I want to double check this, but off the top of my head, Scott, I think he's homered the last 2 games he's pitched, actually. Pretty sure. Remember that he had the great game, and he had a home run and 8 strikeouts and blah, 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 and they lost. They blew the game. That wasn't his last start. He pitched again in another start. I think he had a home run in that one. Like, he's pretty much it's pretty crazy that he does this, but he does.
He does. I looked it up, Gabe. He hits better when he pitches than when he doesn't, believe it or not.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, our number one final segment. Time for our Black Cloud Play of the Day. I got a couple of WNBA games we could play, a couple of baseball games as well. I'll pick one of the WNBA games. I've been riding their unders for the longest time here. It's been pretty profitable. They are the number one under team in the WNBA. That is Golden State. They're at home tonight where they play even better defense. And I must say, when their games go under, they go way under. They don't even come close. It's 154 at home against Phoenix tonight. Let's go under. Golden State 22-12 under. Like I said, number one under team in the WNBA. 10 more unders than over. 7-3 their last 10 games under as well. They're at home fighting for a playoff spot. Big game tonight. It should be a close game. They're an underdog, so I think they're going to play this thing close to the vest, walk the ball up the court. Ever since their best player got hurt, it's really been nothing but unders. So I know it's a low number for a WNBA game, and I'm like Gabe, I much prefer playing overs, but not with Golden State. Give me under 154. I don't think they're going to get blown out, and that's really when their games go over, Gabe, is when they get blown out. They're very rare that it goes over when it's a competitive game, because if it's competitive, they're doing what they need to do, and that's slow the tempo down. I think it'll be, which is why I think there are more unders at home than there are on the road for them. So long story short, I like the under tonight, 154.
We got an update. I'm going to be pulling the trigger on the Valkyries tonight and hoping for the best. That's 6.5 is a lot of points against such a good defensive team. As you stated, expected a lower scoring game, 22-12 to the under on the season. This team, but I didn't see this comeback happening, Scott. I would sort of say, you know what, I'm kind of upset at myself for not bringing this one up, but they were getting lit up last night. They scored some runs. The Seattle Mariners, Scott, were down 4-1. They just tied the game. They put a 3-spot up in the 7th.
Wow.
And
yeah,
they were still
lost 5 of their last 6.
Yeah, their schedule. They're a West Coast team on the East Coast, Scott. Right, just point blank. I know it's not football and early morning this and that, but they're out of their element. They just are, right? And they're just sort of eyeing, all right, when do we get back to the Pacific Northwest? And plus, Philadelphia are a really good team. But they were just plus 130 even after they tied the ball game at 4. So we got a 4-4 game right now. In-game total is 10.5. And we're in the 7th inning right now. Kind of feels light. Like could be another crooked inning coming in this game, to be honest.
Yeah. That one seems light, and then this one seems a little heavy in that Baltimore's leading Boston 3-1, right? We were on the Red Sox last night, I was, and that's a loser. Only 4 runs, and they're giving you 7.5. That's still allowing the Red Sox to come back and even win 4-3, and it's still going under. So I'm a little surprised. It's the Red Sox plus 2-1 is tempting. And we grab them plus 1.5 runs, go conservative.
I'm only getting 170 with the. Wow, they know that everyone hates the Red Sox in New York, so they got to give value. So, but all kidding aside, yeah, it's crazy that some of the numbers are the same, Scott, and some of them aren't. I'm looking at Bet365 right now, and not enough, quite enticing enough for me. Like if the Red Sox were getting 2.5 runs, I'd jump in. Like they're getting 1.5 runs. What do you got for the run? So like I got 1.5 minus 120. Plus 1.5 minus 120 for the Red Sox.
I got plus 1.5 minus 112.
Interesting. I was saying a 30-cent different on the money line, but the run line was pretty much the same. Like if we were getting 2.5 down 2, I'd be all over this. But quite frankly, I don't have a ton of confidence in the Red Sox right now. Baltimore are just outplaying them. They look like the hungrier team, which is interesting, Scott, because sort of perception, right? Like we were talking about mindset and stuff. Like, if you were watching this right now, you would think Baltimore's the better baseball team, and they're ahead in the standings if you watched last night and today.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's funny how things can flip in just like a week or two, Gabe, right? I mean, the Yankees were being left for dead. Everyone making fun of them. Manager stinks, blah, 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 right? Seattle's playing great. Red Sox playing great. And then here we are 2 weeks later, and the Yankees have kind of turned things around. Well, they 6-1 their last 7. Seattle's slumping a little bit. Red Sox slumping a little bit.
these idiots that were calling, and I get it, they get frustrated. And, oh, it's more important because I'm a Yankee fan. But were you going to fire a manager that went to the World Series last year and is holding on to a playoff spot?
I know.
Like seriously, Scott, like, think about it from that perspective. A little bit extreme, don't you think?
Yeah, it is crazy here in New York. It really is. All right, hour number 2 coming up next. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott, Gabe, hour number 2. A little bit of hope just looking at the box scores with some of the plays we gave out. Gabe, it was 3-0 Dodgers. I think Ohtani is batting before Betts. Betts is batting now, and it's 4-0. So
it's now 4-0.
Does that mean Ohtani hit a home run?
And Shohei Ohtani did hit a home run. Shohei Ohtani is just his 44th. His 44th of the season. Home run Ohtani, plus 110. Lowest number of the year. Lowest number ever at ESPN Bet. And, going back, they were penned, in Barstool before, etc. So, low number. Yeah, it's funny, Scott. Austin Gomber really is Gomer Pyle tonight. Like I said, Gomber's Pyle off the top, right? 4-0 right now. Alex Call hit a home run. And then, boom, Ohtani hits the home run. So it cashes. They're now up 4-0. And so we bet the home run prop with Ohtani, cash it. And don't forget, we played over 1.5 total bases, parlayed with the Dodgers, Scott. Not even on the run line at minus 125.
Right.
So now we got the Dodgers. They're up 4-0 right now. Nice start for the Dodgers. They've come to play tonight. They're in a bad mood, Scott.
Yeah. Wait, it's funny when you tweak them, that's when they kind of show their true colors and show the world. All right, you know what? We let one get away. It stinks, and we got to, show the world we're better than the Rockies.
This team plays for World Series, Scott, though. People, once again, bettors get upset because their parlay gets blown, right? I see, online, the Dodgers this, the Dodgers that. Let's look at the standings, Scott. How many teams in Major League Baseball have more games than the Dodgers have? Right? 4 or 5? Right, you know what I mean? There's a couple, right? They're
Not many.
And the Dodgers, they're not going to be judged on what happens because your same game parlay didn't win. Not you, but people tuning in. They're going to be judged what happens. Like you said, as soon as they were challenged this past weekend against San Diego, what do? They swept them. All right, and they lose to Colorado. Yeah. They're back on track here, but big weekend, and we'll see if San Diego bounces back. I said it last night, Scott. San Diego, big week for them. After getting swept by L.A., they got to be careful that the wheels don't fall off against San Francisco this week. And then they get L.A. again this week, this time at Petco, albeit. But, you have a bad week against the Giants, and then you have a bad week again against the Dodgers. It's game, set, match. You're not winning the division.
Yeah. If they get through this week and they're 5-6 back, it could be, that's it. The division's over, it's almost like they probably didn't expect to win the division the entire season, but it was right there, and then they finally get in that position, and that might be the
they got to be
line,
careful about the wild card. The Reds aren't that far back of theirs right now, right? The Reds are they're 2.5 back right now. 2.5 back, the Reds of San Diego, Scott. This is a big week, man. It's a fun week in baseball, actually. It's, the Reds, this is a big week for you wouldn't think, the Reds and the Angels, a big series. No, it is, as far as the playoffs are concerned. The Reds have played themselves right back in this thing. The Mets are winning right now, right? So, looks like they're going to get the W, a much-needed W tonight, too.
Yeah, a lot of blowouts. But I will say that Ohtani bet, back to that just for a second. It's an example. That's a bad bet, right? You bet plus 110 for a guy to hit a home run. I mean, that's just a bad bet. But it
wasn't a bad bet because we won.
Some bad bets win. I mean, so it's a good bet.
It wasn't. It wasn't. And it's funny because I saw today, actually, that Jimmy Vaccaro, legendary odds maker, Jimmy Vaccaro in Las Vegas has announced his official retirement. He's 80 years old. He's been a bookmaker for 50 years, and he announced his official retirement. And I used to live in the same condo as him, and it was a real treat, just to run into him and pick his brain in the elevator and in the lobby and stuff. And whenever I would see him, and it sounds cliche, but I remember I once asked him, and I think it was in the RG3 era. Remember, it was. The old Baylor and Texas Tech game, Scott. You know what I mean? When there'd be basketball scores 60-55 and really crazy high scoring college football games. And there was a total once. I think it was 86, Scott, 83 and a half, something really over the top. And I happened to see him and I said, "Hey, Jimmy," I said, "Man, is this the highest total ever?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yes, that's the highest total I've ever seen." And he goes, "But I'll tell you what, kid." He goes, you can't go wrong by betting the highest overs and the unders, the lowest unders under. And people don't want to do it. I brought this up as an example of Ohtani tonight. People got scared off by it because it was just so low, but it won. So, Scott, people get scared off by a football total. Oh, it's 32, or, man, I like the overs, 57, but it's too high. No, it's high for a reason. The high games will go over and the low games will go under. Let the odds makers do their job. They know what they're doing. Right, when it comes to this, and you see it time and time again. It's those sort of games in the middle that always you'll lose by half a point and 2 points, the 48.5s and stuff. But the extreme totals, right? The highest over will go over, and the lowest under will go under. Let's keep our eye on that. Actually, as a fresh season is starting.
VegasInsider.com keeps track of some of that stuff. That's it used to be a great site, but now it's gotten a little. I don't go to it nearly as much. But
it's not the same as it was.
Yeah, they ruined it. They really did. I hate to say that, but they ruined it for me anyway. But if you go into the college football page, they will give you over unders of 60 or higher or 70 or higher, and they would give you how it actually turned out. So, but yeah, it's true. That's what they do. They put it so high that you bet the under. You go into a game thinking, all right, I'm going to bet the over. Texas, Tech versus Baylor. Everybody use that one, right? And then you see it's 65. You're like, oh, I'm not bad. Give me the under, right? And then it goes, then all of a sudden it's 35-35 at the half, and you're like, what am I doing?
No, exactly.
That's what they do.
A good example.
They make you change your bet because they posted so high, but the game's going to go over anyway. So
see, I look at it like I said. I use the beware of dog sign, but when I see a number, Scott, I sort of think, all right, what's their motive for the number? So UNLV, Idaho State's a good example this week. Not the most glamorous game. Yeah, 64.5 I saw. Is it 60? What do you see? 65.5? Has it gone up?
No, I said 25.5 was the line.
Oh, okay, the point spread. So, yeah, 64.5 is the total. They're telling you they don't want you betting the over. They're concerned there's going to be a lot of points in this game, right? When they're posting, like, I look at it like the book doesn't want you to do this, so I'm going to do it, right? So a lot of casual people will say, oh, my God, look how high it is. I got to bet under this. No, I'm like, no, they just put it at like 68.5, like some college game or whatnot for a reason. They don't want you betting the over, right? So I'm going to bet the over. They don't want me doing it. That's why they made this so high, right? Like there's a lot to be said for just understanding the numbers, guys, and the motive of the sports book. Are they trying to get action on one side? And understanding, comparing the lines at different sports books. I've talked about this a lot, Scott. I know some bettors that are really good football bettors. They don't know who the players are for the most part, right? They're not even fans. Like I know a dude, he's a poker player. But he wins because he understands line movement. And he understands how to compare line movement in sharp books compared to sort of public books. And if you understand numbers, Scott, understand what the sports book wants you to do and what they don't want you to do. And, don't do what they want you to do.
Opposite picks. There you go. The birth of opposite picks. That's really and tell you, a college football game that kind of falls into that category a little bit is Stanford getting points at Hawaii. Now, I actually like Hawaii, but I think most people would say, boy, Stanford, you're giving me points with Stanford? Where do I sign?
I think that's the double trap, though, Scott. We could hit this on the other side, but I think that's the double trap where they're almost baiting people into taking Hawaii here.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about the other side. Okay.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott Gabe, hour number 2. Looking at a little baseball, a little WNBA, talking some college football here as well. Real quick, just to update the Minnesota and the Liberty game. That did end. Minnesota made a little bit of a push there, a little scared, but Liberty ended up pulling away, winning by 10, 85-75, win by 10. Game goes under. Storm beating the Skyboy. When you talk about an automatic, I know there's not a lot of WNBA players out there, but as we always like to say, you know, winner is a winner. This Sky team is just awful. I mean, they're getting crushed every single game by double digits. They're down 16.
And Angel Reese came back tonight at the last second, which we didn't really know about, right? It was one of those, like, at the last minute. Oh, by the way, Angel Reese, say what you will about her, Scott, but she is one of the biggest names in the WNBA, right? Polarizing, love her or hate her. She's one of those players.
Yeah.
How the hell do you not sort of hype it more? Like, from your own organizational standpoint. Hey, by the way, we're terrible, but our star player is back. You know what I mean?
Give them reason to come. It's a home game.
Like
It's a home game, too, right? So
and
come
if you
watch
didn't
her
know
play.
she was going to play until right before, I mean,
you
know, I don't know. It was just kind of strangely handled, it seems to me. Although it hasn't made any difference. They're getting lit the F up anyways.
In fact, you know what? Just from her numbers standpoint, for those that want to know, she's played 14 minutes, so they're limiting her minutes clearly. 14 minutes. She has 12 points, 12 points and 4 rebounds.
Well, that's actually pretty good. People like to hate on her.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty impressive, Scott. Yeah. How many rebounds does she have?
Yeah. Now, how many rebounds were from her own misses? I don't know. I know on Twitter games that people like to follow her, and she'll be like throwing up 3 baskets and missing. And she's getting all the rebounds in those counts.
If I was her people, I'd just say, all right, girl, like all off season, we're in the gym like 8 hours a day. And you're only shooting. We know you can rebound. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're only shooting. I don't care. I'll bring Glenn Rice in, Larry Bird, and every other 3-point shooter. You know what I mean? Hire Ray Allen. I don't care who. Like, you know what I mean? Rick Barry. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He helps everybody. Like, seriously, though, get into the gym, Angel. Learn how to shoot for real and silence the haters for real. Then, you know what I mean? Like, if she ever showed up with, like, a jump shot to her game and an offensive, because it's just so rudimentary, like, brutally raw, her offensive game. But she, you know, she bangs hard out there. But they're a terrible organization, Scott. They draft horribly. We've talked about it.
Yeah. And it's too bad because it's there, Gabe. But listen, you hate to sell it as this, but listen, the NBA survived with Bird versus Magic, right? It's there. It's right there. You know, it's Caitlin Clark and it's Angel Reese. Those are the two. Nobody cares about the Liberty. I'm sorry to say, no one cares about ISU or Brina Stewart or all these other great players that are in the league. I follow it. Gabe follows it. But you know, Middle America, if they hear Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they're like, oh, okay, let me tune in. Let me pay attention a little bit. So it's there if those two, you know, especially Angel, can elevate their game in a team. So
I think Paige will kind of become one of the bigger faces of the league moving forward, right?
I think so.
And she's another one too. And I think they're going to get good pretty quickly. You see, they're a scrappy team. You see them play. Like, the Wings are a competitive team, ATS-wise, when Paige is on the court and they have their players. But like a lot of teams in the WNBA, they've been pretty beat up this year. But to me, listen, Scott, I'll be honest. Like, I've supported women's sports for a long time. So I've been ahead of the curve. I've bet on women's sports. It's not like new, because Caitlin Clark. But I've also, I'll be honest, where I used to bet on the WNBA because it was on, right? And it was a brutal watch. It was like, God, this is boring. Like, you know what I mean? It was just terrible. And now I'm actually excited for the games. Like, I look at the board. Oh, who's playing? All right, cool. Oh, wow, that's a cool matchup. And talking about the playoffs. Like, I'm not just, like, saying it. I'm genuinely like, wow, Las Vegas Aces, Atlanta Dream, man, the Liberty, the Lynx. Want to see how this all plays out in the WNBA. And it's a good sport to bet on. You and I, we win more than we lose when we bet on it on this show, right? Like, you know, I've gotten dialed in with the WNBA props. Like, it's not put it this way, it hasn't been like a chore to follow it for me, Scott. Like, I'm into the W. I don't watch every game, but I'm betting on it. I watch a game a night type deal. I had the Liberty game on earlier. I like to see the late game tonight with the Aces, but it's been a good sport to bet on. And just because football's back, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm still going to be betting on these props.
Yeah. It's one of those sports where, listen, you could, if you follow it, you could find some bad lines or soft lines, however you want to describe them, bettable lines. And
well, about the Jewel Lloyd over
don't
1.5 3-point shot that me and Coach were talking about.
Right.
Like it's just constant. It's been 7 of the last 8 games. It's 1.5 at -145. It's like, okay, nobody knows, how many people right now are lined up at the window at Circa. I got to get in. Like, are there like 10 people in line? Scott, hurry up. I got to get my Jewel Lloyd prop in.
Get out of my way. I got to get this WNBA bet in.
Hey, the Aces game. I got to get my Jewel Lloyd prop in. 1.5 3-point shots. 8-1 last night, whatever. Like, no. A couple of sharps out there and a couple of dudes that know about this stuff are laying it down and cashing in.
Yeah, it's funny. All right, so we got a couple of games. We got some baseball stuff. Phillies have retaken the lead over the Mariners 6-4. Red Sox still laying an egg. They're the goofy White Sox. Baltimore's winning, last place team. White Sox winning, last place team. What else do we got? Not the Marlins. Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's down 7-3 to the Blue Jays. So we'll get a couple of last place teams that are doing.
Cubs up 2-1. Not a last place team, but frustrating. Not someone that's on Milwaukee, and the Dodgers. Now up to 6. So as we stated, it's a bludgeoning tonight. So far early at Coors Field, the Dodgers continue to put runs up on the board here this evening.
Your boy hit a home run? And his boy Hernandez hit one?
Teoscar Hernandez, Scott, I'm going to see right now. He was just up and I was watching him as he was batting. And I'm like, you know what? Is he going to do it here right now? Oscar Hernandez. No, he didn't do it. No. Son of a.
He got on base. He scored. Tell you what,
he's got a single and a double. Yeah, he's got a single and a double. So he's on a tear. Maybe he hits for the cycle.
2 runs scored. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point if Aaron Jones misses time where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Hour number 2. It's Scott and Gabe checking a little baseball, a little WNBA, touching on some college football as well. Games, believe it or not, this weekend. How much fun is that going to be? So I need to get a couple runs here. We're on the Brewers. They're down 2-1 against the Cubbies. Only the top of the 5th. Get Milwaukee plus 172. Not a bad little price. Dodgers scored a whole bunch more, Gabe. It's now 7-0 Dodgers. Only the top of the 3rd, and they got the bases loaded. And this poor Gomber pitcher is still in there. I don't know how much the coach has to see to make him realize that he doesn't have it tonight, but apparently he hasn't seen enough. 8.5, you can lay 9.5. FanDuel has it. It's 100 to 1 on the money line, and then 16.5 is your in-game line. That's 10 more runs in the 3rd inning. I don't know if they quite get to that many, but then you got Texas trailing Kansas City once again, 3-2. Royals played. KC's actually playing some decent ball, and Texas continues to flop. So
Texas RFA team. Stay away from Texas. We have the Angels coming up here with the Reds, and as we talked about earlier, Hunter Green, guys, giving up 2 runs or less in 10 of his 11 starts. Reds are 9-0 their last 9 games, as Scott brought up, against the Angels as well. Listen, the Reds are right here right now. The Mets are winning tonight. The Reds need to keep pace. San Diego also become a target for the Cincinnati Reds. They're only 2.5 games back of San Diego as well. So big series this week. And we talked about the Reds' schedule. This doesn't get any easier for them. So they do get Arizona, and then they get the Dodgers after, and they get the Blue Jays. So it's sort of, it gets tougher for them as it goes on. But it doesn't mean that they can't win tonight. I'm going to be on Hunter Green tonight and the Cincinnati Reds, Scott.
A buddy of mine on the podcast looked it up. A surprising thing here, real quickly. There have been a number of teams that have gone the entire season without being swept, as Cincinnati currently is, 40-41 series, right? If you throw out the shortened season 2020, the COVID year, Orioles in 2023 did it. Of course, they got swept by the Rangers in the postseason. Braves did it in 2022. Braves did it in 2002, 2004. Padres in 98, Phillies in 93, and then the Blue Jays in 92. And then before that, you got to go back like 50 years. So it's happened, it's not often, but it has happened a little bit. The surprising thing, Gabe, I found out was my buddy also came up with how many times a team has not been shut out an entire season. And I would think that would, happen a little bit more often. But in the history of baseball, now this is not with Cincinnati, but I just, bring it up by comparison's sake, there have only been 2 teams. The 1932 Stankies and the, oddly enough, 2000 Cincinnati Reds are the only teams throughout the strike years, or the shortened seasons, that have gone the entire season without being shut out. I would have guessed a lot more.
You would figure, that it would happen, especially in the modern era, sort of an offensive era. But everybody strikes out so much, so it's almost all or nothing now, the modern baseball. But that's the one thing fascinating about baseball. There's these... and the thing with baseball I've always loved is the infinite amount of possibilities that can happen on any pitch, on any play, right? Most sports, there's only a few things that can happen. Quarterback throws the football, he could get sacked, he could fumble it could be completed, it could be intercepted. So there's a list of things that can happen, but it's not infinite. Right? You know what I mean? Like Bo Schembechler said, you throw the ball, 3 things can happen, 2 of them are bad. Incomplete, intercepted, and so it's sort of simple. Baseball, Scott, there's literally like 130 things that can happen. Right? There's so many different scenarios, and you usually see things that you've never seen before, and or you're blown away by things that haven't happened more. Before. I'm still stuck on that 5 sacrifice flies in a game being a big deal. It was only the 5th time in Major League Baseball history that there was 5 sacrifice flies in a game. How is that possible? Seriously, you're telling me in one of these Yankee games in the 30s they didn't have a bunch of flies? You know what I mean? Especially in the old days, Scott. Those stadiums, bro, were like 5. They were massive. So you're telling me like there wasn't, I mean, like it's some of these numbers are mind blowing where I almost don't believe the numbers. I'm like, that can't be true. But it is.
That's what I mean about the shutout. You tell me there are only 2 teams in the history of baseball? Really? Like I said, I would have thought that would have been higher. I really did. So I love those numbers. I really do. All right, Rob Donaldson, UnderdogFantasy.com. Join us next. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point if Aaron Jones misses time where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it. Scott Wetzel will return with us momentarily. Rob Donaldson steps up and in. We've got a bunch of baseball games going on, and, he's sweating out some of them, including a Houston Astro team that have really struggled offensively, Rob, as of late. And they only have 3 hits on the board this evening, but, that's the bad news. The good news is that the Detroit Tigers haven't scored. What are your thoughts on this baseball game as now we're going into the bottom of the 8th inning? We're into the bottom of the 8th inning right now with 1 out.
Yeah, I think with this game in particular, and then one later that we're probably going to talk about with Hunter Green going for the Reds, I think that sometimes really, really good starting pitchers kind of get overvalued in the full game market because, they are going to cover 6 or 7 innings, and a lot of these guys like a Tariq Skubal or a Jacob deGrom are going to go out there and do a really good job at making sure that, their team is in the game and likely in a position to win it. But if your offense is struggling like the Tigers are and like the Reds are, what are those kind of limiting runs actually doing for you on the back end of games? That's where I think the full market comes into play in terms of the full game. And that's why I took a stab at the Astros at plus 145 today.
Bold, and I like the strategy. I talk about it a lot, and I've sort of talked about it within the NFL preseason, actually, where a lot of the public believe, oh my God, look, Joe Burrow is starting, or Mahomes is starting. The starting quarterback is starting. The line gets way overvalued because of it. They leave the game after a couple of series. The game is tied, and suddenly you're laying 6 points in a preseason game because Joe Burrow started, or somebody else, somebody else started, right? And so I agree with you for the starting pitching, but you said so. It sort of correlates with this Reds game tonight. Me and Scott were talking about this earlier. I don't know, like it's a little bit random because they don't play all the time. But the Reds have beaten the Angels 9 straight times right now. This Red team, the only team not to get swept this year, which is an interesting stat, in fact. So they've never been swept this year. But at the same point in time, Rob, as you see, they've never really had like an extended like run, right? They just sort of go 2-1 enough and 1-2 enough, and they're hanging around in the wild card right now. But feels to me like this is a good sort of moving week for the Reds. I bought in on green tonight, but do you feel differently about this game? Reds and Angels getting ready for first pitch.
Yeah, and largely it's going to come down to how taxed that Reds bullpen is, and also how anemic that offense looked in their last 2 series just for the Reds at home in a hitters-friendly ballpark. Because when you are kind of looking at, even the first 5 market of this game versus the full game, the Reds on the money line through the first 5 are like minus 160, and through the full game, they're kind of around that minus 130 range, which I think gives you that indicator of, hey, we know that this Reds bullpen is taxed, but we think Hunter Green is going to be able to give us enough through that first 5 or 6 or even 7 frames to kind of put the Reds in that leverage position late. But if the offense isn't there, and the offense just hasn't been there, in particular under the hood too, with just not even getting hard contact, I feel like a pitch to contact guy like a Kyle Hendricks, as bad as he's been this season and as over the hill as he is going to be able to kind of limit the damage early. And that's why I do think this Angels offense, which is very, very good, can kind of strike late and win this game outright.
What do you think about the Guardians and the D-backs game?
Yeah, looking at that game, it's one of the more kind of interesting series because obviously the D-backs are almost in this kind of weird, purgatory state of they're not really competing truly for anything, but there's still that element of, hey, they got dudes. They're still a good enough team to put up runs on any given night. And the Guardians kind of feel like they are competing for something. So it's one of those things like, where do you want to kind of take your shot? And from that standpoint, I do feel like the D-backs are going to be competitive in kind of these isolated 1-game scenarios moving forward. And a guy like an Eduardo Rodriguez is somebody that I do see kind of experiencing positive regression as we move through the season here too. So I am taking a stab at the Diamondbacks on the money line. I feel like this is probably one of the games they're going to get in this series.
I know you were coming on late, and obviously the Yankee-Cardinal game would have started by now, Rob, but because of a rain delay, they are just getting underway. I will say the Yankees have put 3 on the board already against Tampa Bay. I did like the Stanks tonight, but did you have any thoughts on that game?
The Yanks are kind of that way, right? They're going to go boom or bust offensively, and hopefully it's a boom. Otherwise, they're probably going to lose. And, ultimately right now, that's kind of what you're riding with. And I do feel like with, this pitching matchup in particular and the way that Shane Baz is actually kind of more of a name right now than a guy who's actually performing like the back of his baseball card, I thought it was a really good shot to take a stab at a Yankees team total or just a Yankees run line scenario here.
How about the last game? Any thoughts on San Diego?
It's really tough when you kind of have like almost an unknown bloated ERA on one side of things because everybody's going to see a flat 9 ERA and be like, okay, that's a human pinata, but we don't really know truly how he's going to perform. And the Padres lineup, you want to talk about anemic lineups, this is a team that made a ton of moves at the deadline and over the last 2 weeks have just put up zilch. I mean, they were absolutely flatlined against a Dodgers team that everybody was kind of maligning that bullpen. And, eventually, sure, they're probably going to bust through the ceiling, but I'm not willing to kind of take a stab on them at this type of price just because a young pitcher has a high ERA on the other side.
I thought they were in a bounce back spot. Like, okay, what are they going to show after getting swept by the Dodgers? Yeah, it's tough. Cortez gets lit up early. The game, they come back. You have the controversy late, but now, and I said to Scott earlier, Rob, that they need to be careful that the wheels don't fall off this week against San Francisco. San Francisco are playing carefree. They would enjoy to play spoiler role this week and beat San Diego. And San Diego play LA again this weekend, this time at Petco. So this is a big weekend for San Diego. And so, in other words, there's a lot of pressure on them. Like, they're definitely going to start feeling it a little bit now. Coming off that week, they put so much emotion into that Dodgers series, Rob. Then to lose last night, San Francisco gets off to a quick start here tonight. I think you can make an argument, guys, that San Francisco are a live dog at plus 165, actually.
I'm right there with you. I think when you come off kind of that emotional high of you have a 1-game lead in the NL West, that team that's always kind of been your nemesis and the team that's nagging you for that division, you kind of had them in a really good stranglehold to say, hey, let's go win this division. Let's further out our lead. And instead, it was a reverse sweep on you, right? Like you actually got worse after that sort of outbreak from there.
And Rob, you're sitting
now,
in the clubhouse right now, seeing the Dodgers up 7-0 as well. Right, they see this.
Right.
They see all the games, so they're like, "Oh, all right, LA are winning." It starts to snowball a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah, and you got to kind of worry about like a team like the Giants too. That they're out of the mix, but they're just talented enough, almost like the Guardians or the D-backs, to compete in an individual game scenario. And if you're not scoring runs, you can get beat by anybody in the Major League Baseball, even the Rockies right now, who actually are scoring runs too.
What are we going to do, Rob, with Texas? I bring them up. They're losing again tonight. You know, I've been on this goofy team since the beginning of the year. I keep on waiting, and now all of a sudden they're 2 games under 500. They're 2-9 their last 11. They can't win on the road. They haven't been able to win on the road all year long. There's still crazy enough a month left in the baseball season, but are you ready to write them off? It's just not going to happen this season for them.
Man, you and me both, Scott. We were both on that bandwagon, and even post-trade deadline, I was back on that bandwagon because that lineup that was so terrible for most of the season actually has come to life. But now that pitching staff that was kind of reliant on as almost like one of the best in baseball on the back end has suddenly done a 180 and is now one of the worst in all of baseball over the past month. And from that standpoint, it's like, okay, if it's not one thing, it's another. It's almost kind of like the Yankees, but almost to an insane degree from that standpoint. And yeah, I can't really back this team, you know, at these kind of minus 110 prices moving forward.
It's amazing. I think everyone's thinking that they're going to turn things around, but it's not happening. Down 3-2, bottom of the 8th inning. 13 games under 500 on the road, 11 games over 500 at home. Makes no sense. It's so weird with a veteran club. Rob, great job as always. UnderdogFantasy.com. Thanks, Rob. You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. You know, there's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. The frustrations of in-game live betting. It's got me frustrated so much. Our beloved Red Sox had the bases loaded, nobody out, down 3-1, bottom of the 8th inning. Ready to at least tie it, you would think, and at worst get a run, Gabe, since maybe some people took the run and a half when we were talking about it 10 minutes or so ago. Garcia comes in for the O's, and he strikes out the next 3 guys. Red Sox don't even get 1 run, let alone 2 or 3 to take the lead. 3-1, bottom of the ninth, now they go. So
there's been some wild line moves in this game as well. Boston became favored, Scott, when they had the bases juiced. Now, suddenly, they're plus 750 right now. Baltimore minus 1,400. So if you're looking for that epic comeback for the Boston Red Sox, they only have 3 outs to give right now. But how about what's going on in the ATL? 10-9 now, Scott.
Yes.
10-4 a couple of minutes ago. Atlanta just put a 5 spot up in the bottom of the 7th inning, so we got a 10-9 game in the ATL right now against the White Sox, and the Braves are plus 155 now. Yeah, so coming back this far, can they finish it off? They're coming up to bat right now in the bottom of the 8th inning, so the Braves have 2 more cracks at this.
Yeah, I like that bet. I like betting on teams that were down big and have scored a couple of runs. Got a little mojo going in that dugout. Chicago's got to be reeling. Their bullpen isn't good to begin with anyway. I don't mind that, the plus 140 bet. If they tie it up, I'm sure they'll become favorites. So I'll take a stab knowing they've scored 5 straight and it got a little mojo going, like I said, in that dugout. Still nothing bottom 9, Detroit and Houston. Looking for our first run. Now here's one where if you want to play the game, right? We talked about this yesterday, Gabe. Tigers are batting. Nobody on. Just starting the bottom of the 9th. Now, you don't get the ghost run or anything. They're minus 194 favorites. In a scoreless game, if they don't score bottom 9, I guarantee you it goes to the top of the 10th. They're not going to be a nearly 2-1 favorite. It'll probably drop down to 140, maybe 150 or so. So if you want to take a little gamble inside the gamble, bet the Astros now plus the 150. It's a monster spread there. Minus 194 and only plus 150. That's really criminal. But if you want to take a little flyer, you bet the Astros now.
I don't disagree with the number. I think the number is out of sync, so to speak. Tied ball game, scoreless, anything can happen. I get it. I knew we were talking about this last night if you didn't tune in, people. But if you have to do it now, right? You don't want to wait until, let's say Houston gets out of the inning. They just popped up to plus 210 right now. My only issue, so I like the theory for the number, Scott, but my issue is Houston just can't score. They can't hit the baseball. Right. So I've got my concerns, even with the ghost runner on second base, will they be able to cash them in? But I like, from the strategy standpoint, I got no argument.
How many hits do they have? 4. Wow. So they have, I wrote it down, 15 hits in their last 3 games combined. No runs. They're working on a 26-inning scoreless streak. I mean, you got to be pretty darn bad, Gabe, to go 3 straight innings, right? 27, actually, because they're in the bottom of the 9th, so the 9 innings. They've gone 3 straight 9 innings. We'll see what happens here of not scoring. That's pretty bad. I mean, wow.
And you don't want to overreact, because I've done this before, and like I was just talking about getting frustrated. You lose a bet, you get frustrated, following a team, and you sort of write them off, and you think, well, I said, the Astros can't win the World Series. They just don't hit enough. Maybe this is just a lull they're in right now, right? We are still, basically in August still, but this has been a season-long thing for them. They do have a hard time hitting the baseball, Scott, and they don't have that pitching that they normally do. I think, they're not the same Astros team anymore.
And what's weird about it, Gabe, is the Mariners, they got to be kicking themselves. I mean, you have a great chance. What's crazy about this Houston stretch is they still have a 2-game lead over Seattle in the AL West because the Mariners have lost 6 or 7, including tonight.
After winning, 8 in a row? Talk about streaks, though. Scott, the Mariners won 8 in a row. And that's what I'm saying about baseball, guys. It's the thing. If you're a team, don't tap out. Don't get I know it's tough for these teams that are sort of on the, on the cusp of things. But 2 weeks, Scott, literally changes things. 1 week, one successful week, you know what I mean? You can flip the script a bit. But you get hot for 2 weeks, you're right back in this thing. And there's still like 6 weeks of baseball left, Scott, right? We're still like, we sort of feel like baseball's coming to an end because football season's starting. But in all actuality, you know what I mean, Scott? Like, it feels like the finish line is coming. But no, they're still, they're going to be playing into the first week of October, these guys. Still a lot of baseball left, man. Like, if I was a manager, this is the speech I'm giving teams. Don't give up yet. We can get hot.
But I tell you again, we talk about it all the time on the podcast. A baseball season is just so darn long. It really is just, to think you said, to have another month and a half, basically, of baseball still. It's like, do we really need 35 more games to figure out, we got it. Toronto's the best team.
No, especially,
in the East. It's just like,
that's what I'm saying. If you're the Dodgers of the world and stuff, like, what do you really...
Yeah,
you're gonna have lapses, right? Where it's like, God, man, you're just gonna start thinking about, does this matter? Like, what are we doing here? Can we just fast forward this? It's funny though that you're almost better off though. Like I said about the Dodgers being, if you get too much of a cushy lead, Scott, you can sort of, you can't really turn it on and off, right? In baseball. Yeah. But I do agree with you. It's so long and. I know. I was a post-game show host, Scott, of the Expos, and it's like one of those deals, be careful what you wish for. Like, baseball games, like, you get 1 day off every 21 days. Like, it was relentless. And trust me, Scott, the Expos were like 14 back, 12 back by mid-September. It was torture. There's NFL games going on, and I got to do an Expo game, and I'm like, just end the season. And there's rain delays. I wanted to put a gun. I was like, God, stop it. Like,
can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. A lot happening in our little 2-minute break there. It's craziness.
Yeah, all the time,
first off,
Scott. Every time we go to a break, that's when all the scoring happens all the time.
It's amazing.
And touchdowns all the time in the football, like for years
last
for me.
night.
Oh, like all the time. We'll go to a break. Oh, kick return. We like always. Like, sometimes when I have the under, Scott, I'm like, all right, guys, good. We're going to a commercial break. It means something's gonna happen crazy. And we were just talking about it going out of the break. Man, that was a quick inning for Baltimore, Scott, in and out, huh? Because it was just like a minute ago. We were like, I was talking about the line move. So Scott said, but Boston had the bases loaded, nobody out. They didn't get it. They became like -1, like 50 favorites again at that point. They popped all the way back up to +900, Scott, and now it's a 3-3 ball game, and the Red Sox are -160.
Yeah, they tied it in the bottom of the ninth inning. How about that? So now, if you grab them at 2-1, like I said I was going to do, now, of course, you go with the Baltimore Orioles and hedge a little bit. Braves had the bases loaded, bottom of the ninth inning, or bottom of the eighth inning, down 10-9, 1 out. So
1 out, wow. Talking to you were liking them +155, yeah.
Yep. And if you're a Houston Astros fan, Gabe, if they lose tonight, you don't want to look at the highlights. You don't want to watch the highlights. So, bottom of the ninth inning, right? No score. Guy for Detroit hits a little Texas leaguer high fly in between first base and the right field. Right fielder calls the first baseman, second baseman off. He runs too far in, and the ball bounces about 2 feet behind him, right? Guy's on second base. Next batter, we're not done. Next batter hits the same thing except to the left field side. The right fielder comes running in, and just like the left fielder, he runs too far in, and the ball bounces behind him. Fortunately, it was a foul ball, but he's still down and hurt, and they had to, they're looking at him now. But if the Astros lose this game after those two plays that a little leaguer could make, wow.
They survived. They got out of the inning, so the Astros are batting right now.
Wow.
Yeah, they got out of it. The Tigers are having their own offensive issues. That's the thing with baseball, guys. It's like betting baseball daily is a lot. I think the equation. I was going to say it's like going to a casino and just playing blackjack constantly, which I think it kind of is. But I think it's almost like going to a racetrack daily, actually, Scott. Right. So if you go to a racetrack daily, and you can win if you pick, like, all right, I like somebody in the 4th race and I like somebody in the 7th race, and you get the hell out of there. But, you bet as many baseball games on a daily basis, just constantly, it's just so wild and random. Like last night, Scott, the Tigers put up 10 runs. Now they got none tonight. Like, it's just... And then people act surprised after, and it's almost like acting surprised. What happened to the 7-horse down the stretch? Right? It's like, wow, stuff happens in a horse race. But we talk about it. They play 162 games. There's going to be, I know it sounds really cliche, guys, but remember this when you're betting baseball. The best, they used to say, the best teams only win 100 games. Best teams don't even win 100 games anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in the cliche, right? Every team's going to win 50-60. Every team's going to lose 50-60. It's just when you play that many games, no matter how bad you are, no matter how good you are, you're going to lose.
Yeah, so put it that way, Scott, what you just said. So in other words, there's a difference of about 40 wins or losses in between, and that's what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
That's it. Could go 40-50 one way or the other way after.
Yeah.
So it goes to show the fine line. And it doesn't mean you can't win betting on baseball, but I think the moral of the story is you've got to pick your spots, and you can't just spray the board every day with baseball.
Yeah. And you can't get off the bandwagon. That's why I like betting teams in series or betting Ohtani to hit a home run. If it doesn't hit in game 1, but I'm going to go right back to the game 2, which he did. So I got final seconds. Braves to take an 11-10 lead. WNBA plays. What do you got for us?
Yeah, WNBA, I'm going to go with the Aces to win this game against an Atlanta Dream team that's been on the West Coast for all week. They've been bouncing around everywhere. Seattle, Vancouver, San Francisco. Now they're in Las Vegas. Total's 167.5. I'm going to go with the over. I don't love it. I'm going to go bigger. I like it, but I'm going to bet it. But I'm going to go bigger on the Aces to win the game. But I think the total is just light enough to get me interested. And How about this? The Valkyries, Scott, up to +7.5 right now. So a little sprinkle on the Valkyries, a home dog for me as well.
All right, I'm going to go Valkyries under the 154.5. I'll take Las Vegas as well. They've won 7 in a row. Atlanta's 6-1 their last 7. Should be a really good game. And I think because of that, we'll get some points.
Jewel
Right.
Lloyd over
Lloyd.
1.5 3-point shots made, guys.
Absolutely. All right, we'll be back tomorrow.